Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it's time for my weekly comic book review. These comics came out July 17th, 2013. Also, this week going on right now in San Diego is Comic-Con, the big one. Everyone looks forward to it every year. We've got major publishers, we've got DC, we've got Marvel, Image. It's pretty much also the convention where we have TV shows talking about what's coming up next, such as Arrow, Walking Dead. I know there's a lot of Walking Dead stuff going on right now because apparently it's the 10th anniversary, and also several promotions from movies. I just heard today that they displayed a Sentinel head from Days of Futures Past, which looks alright. I think it looks alright, but when I read some of the comments, people said it looks like a head that was left over from Transformers, and then but the Sentinel head looks great. Also going on at DC right now, they're still celebrating 75 years of Superman by having several Superman costumes used in various TV and movies on display. There's the Christopher Reeve Superman outfit, there's the Dean Cain Superman outfit, there's Henry Cavill's Man of Steel suit. There's a lot of fantastic stuff going on at Comic-Con right now. Like a lot of people, I really wish I could have been there, but couldn't afford it. Someday. That's going to be my main thing. Trust me, if I ever get to Comic-Con, I'm probably going to announce it on this channel and film a bunch of videos about it when I finally do. But until that day comes, we just have to make do with the weekly comic book reviews and other stuff I do on this channel. Anyways, back to comic book reviews. First off, from Image, the only Image title that I get regularly is Invincible, number 104. Sorry. Probably can't really see it that well because of the glare on my iPad. Apologize, I've been getting Invincible digitally from now on. Alright, what happens in Invincible 104 is that basically last issue Mark was sent to a wasteland dimension by Angstrom Levy, but fortunately Mark is able to find another doppelganger. They're able to team up, take care of his cannibalistic doppelganger, and they get back to Mark's regular Mark's dimension. And when they get there, Angstrom Levy surrenders because Eve was able to talk him out of vengeance by reminding him that, by pretty much asking him, like, what do you think? Did you ever stop and think what you could be doing if you didn't think about revenge? If you could go back to your original mission? That kind of strikes a nerve with Angstrom Levy, and he pretty much says he's giving up now, and there are various reasons why he's been acting so crazy and very bloodthirsty towards Invincible, is because Angstrom Levy has pretty much all the minds of a bunch of other interdimensional counterparts he's collected, and in several of those, and most of the universes, Invincible has turned evil. Whether that was involved his dad, the Viltrumites, or even in most cases, it's involved the death of Eve and possibly his kid, which caused Mark to go to the dark side. However, there are a few dimensions where Mark's still good, and Levy realizes that this is one of them, so he decides to leave them alone, and he also opens another portal to get the other Mark Invincible back to his home dimension, and of course, he agrees to go there, but he also takes Levy with him so that he could deal with him the way they do in his dimension. So Angstrom Levy's gone, and the next day Mark calls in Robot from Guardians of the Globe to scan the room and help figure out a way to track the dimensional to track which dimension Angstrom Levy went to, so that they could bring him, because Mark wants to bring him back now, because now he knows he's still out there, and he wants. And it's not really, and the way the issue ends, it's not really clear whether or not Mark wants to bring him back because he wants Levy to get to justice, or because that he just wants to make sure Levy doesn't die. And honestly, I could go either way with this, but overall, the issue was great. I really liked how instead there wasn't a huge climactic battle between Mark and Angstrom Levy. It was just more like Eve was able to talk him out of it, and that's kind of a theme of Invincible, is that in most cases, Mark does have to have a big supervillain fight with some of his enemies, but most of the time he wants to try to figure out a way that doesn't have to go this route, because several times he's tried talking to criminals, convincing them to go another way. Like, he doesn't want to always have to deal with things by causing so much destruction and fighting. He just wants to, in some ways, talk it out and get them to surrender. Invincible 104, I would say longtime readers are going to love this issue. They're going to enjoy it. Newcomers, not so much, because you probably need to go back and read a couple of story arcs that involve Angstrom Levy to understand who he is, why he hates Mark, and also his involvement with the evil Invincible Doublegangers. So I'd say this whole two issue arc was more long-time user-friendly than new user-friendly, but nevertheless, if you're a long-time fan of Invincible, I'd say buy it. If you're keeping up with the trades, then you should also get it. Overall, very nice, but if you're a new reader, you should probably get some background information before diving right into it. Okay, moving on to DC Comics. Animal Man, number 22. Pretty much, there's two sides to this story. In the red, we have Maxine Baker, who's learning how to use her powers. In this case, she uses them to recreate her brother Cliff's body, but it's just Cliff's body. It's not. There's no soul, there's no consciousness, and because of that, his body just destabilizes. But unfortunately, Shepard reminds Maxine that Cliff's life force is still in the red, and maybe if she works on her powers a little more, she could probably bring him back again. And back on Earth, Buddy Baker, Animal Man, continuing from last issue, he's able to track down this guy he met who has apparently cut up animal skin and attached it to himself, and Buddy also discovers that there's people who's just like him, and there isn't an official name, but I've kind of referred to them as, well, actually I think Buddy referred to them as Animal Men, but I'm going to call them man animals. You know, kind of the reverse of what Animal Man is. In this case, they kind of have like animal skin and animal parts like sewed onto them, which is, it's really creepy, to be honest. It's creepy, but that's part of what this comic is. It's a superhero horror comic, and fits well with that theme. But anyways, Buddy is captured by the man animals, and their leader Clinton Hogue explains that they're pretty much like trying to be like him and be one with the animals, and they're also extreme animal activists and stuff. And the man animals take large amounts of Buddy Baker's blood, which apparently some of them are delivering to Brother Blood. So yeah, Brother Blood makes his new 52 debut on the last page of this issue. Animal Man number 22 was a great read. I really loved this series since the new 52. Jeff Lemire's doing an amazing job combining both elements of the horror and superhero genre and making them this awesome fusion. This awesome type of fusion. I mean, seriously, if you like those two things, horror and superheroes, then I would definitely recommend Animal Man, because it's not really a traditional superhero book, and I think a lot of people who, like maybe zombie books would enjoy this as well. But just to be fair, some of it does get kind of creepy and gory. In this case, the man animals, which look a little effed up. But nevertheless, Animal Man number 22, definitely a buy. Alright, now here's something good. Batman and Catwoman, number 22. Continuing the 5 stages story arc that we have with Batman dealing with Damian's death, and in this case, the state he's in is despair, or depression, whatever you want. He's in stage 4, which is depression or despair. And in this one, Batman teams up with Catwoman. Catwoman pretty much asks Batman to help her on an assignment she's been given by the JLA to rescue an American spy who's been imprisoned and tortured by the Chinese and the Chinese embassy. And it turns out, when Batman and Catwoman break in, they discover that the person they're trying to get out is actually a little girl whose father is actually a Chinese weapons designer who defected to the U.S. and the Chinese pretty much kept the daughter as sort of a bargaining chip. So that's why Batman and Catwoman are there. And fortunately, they are able to defeat all the obstacles and rescue the kid, which in the end kind of makes Batman feel a little relieved. and and also Carrie Kelly still is playing like a minor role in the story arc, where she still continues to ask like, where's Damian going? And also in this issue, it's Alfred tells Bruce that he hired Carrie to help take care of Titus while Damian's away, because the cover story that Bruce has given Carrie is that Damian is studying abroad, and during this, Carrie makes a deal with Bruce to give. Also, I should explain that Carrie Kelly is technically Damian Wayne's theater coach or theater tutor, and she pretty much made a deal with Bruce that if he gets Damian to call her, then she'll give him a flash drive of an interview she made right before they started their sessions, and it's Bruce. And Bruce will get the flash drive if she gets the call from Damian. And of course, Bruce splices a bunch of audio from recordings he took of Damian as his time as Robin together to help create a phone call. And while Bruce is doing this, you see him working the back computer, and he's just in a very, very depressed state, hence the title of the issue. And that's pretty much what happens in this. Also, we get a teaser. Also, the last page, we get a teaser about the return of Two-Face. That's something to look forward to. Okay, in my opinion, Batman and Catwoman number 22, very nice issue. Peter Tomasi is doing a great job on this title. I really wish I had picked up this title back when Damian was alive. This is just an amazing story arc. In this issue, though, if you're a fan of the Batman and Catwoman relationship, well, their chemistry in this is amazing. I mean, Tomasi does a good job capturing it. It's beautiful. It's really nice to watch. Also, I do like the last page at the end when Batman and Catwoman do rescue the girl. There's like a sweet moment between Batman and the little girl, which is nice. And Tomasi's doing a great job on this, and I like that teaser about what's going to happen, about how next we're going to deal with Two-Face. And I really am thinking, and now I'm really thinking about picking up this title after this whole 5 stages story, because I came here because I started picking this up after the death of Damian Wayne, and well, now I kind of want to continue it because this guy is doing a great job on this title. I want to see what his plans are for it. I mean, it's amazing. So, I mean, this issue is great. The whole 5 stages story arc has been really nice. I like this issue a lot better than the last one, which was Batman and Batgirl number 21. This is better than the last one, but the overall story arc is amazing. This issue is definitely a buy. Alright, next up, Justice League of America number 6, Part 2 of Trinity War. Pretty much from last issue, there's a fight going on between the JLA and the Justice League. Superman pretty much just ends the fight right there, and he demands to be locked up because of his actions where he killed Dr. Light back in Justice League number 22. So Superman pretty much ends the fight and agrees to go into custody, goes into Argus custody, and while Superman's in custody, he's wearing he's pretty much in restraints, and also there's this sort of he's wearing the sort of lead helmet to, I think, block his X-ray and heat vision, and while he's in prison, Batman and Wonder Woman discuss with him what could have gone wrong, and there's 2 sides to this. Batman believes that this was all because of Dr. Light, and how Dr. Light couldn't control his powers, and Superman's basically a solar battery, and that caused Superman's powers to act up and kill Dr. Light. So Batman's taking the science route. Wonder Woman, however, believes Pandora's box was behind all this, and she believes that it was magic. And Pandora's box since then screwed with Superman. That caused his powers to mess up. And Batman's continuing his work with Cyborg, and they're doing an autopsy on Dr. Light's body. Wonder Woman, however, decides to go investigate who knows what about Pandora's box, and eventually her search leads her to calling in the Justice League Dark to help out with this. And the issue itself ends with Steve Trevor going into Superman's cell, but it's revealed that this Steve Trevor is actually the Question. And the Question then asks Superman if he really wants to know who really killed Dr. Light. And that's where the issue ends. Okay, Justice League of America number 6, Trinity War, so far, I like Trinity War. Okay, I like how at the beginning Superman knows what he did, and he just immediately ends the fight between the heroes and just says that this is all my fault, I demand to be locked up. And he takes full responsibility for that. Of course, though, after that, Batman and Wonder Woman, his best friends, they want to prove his innocence. So and of course, for the first time, and of course, we see how the main difference between Batman and Wonder Woman, not just because Batman's human and Wonder Woman has superpowers, but also how, they're both they're different backgrounds. In Batman's case, he's a detective. He's logical. He's logical. He believes in science. He'll go with facts over belief any day of the week. And Wonder Woman, however, believes that it was magic, something that's an unknown element, something that's very difficult to explain, and that's her route that she believes could be Superman's innocence. And there's some great dialogue between the three. Well, technically Superman doesn't say much, but there is a great there's a great training moment between the three heroes in this, which is very nice. Also, I do like how now we're involved with the Question, and I kind of think that maybe next issue in Justice League Dark we might get the Phantom Stranger involved, if possible, because, again, Pandora, the Question, and the Phantom Stranger were part of this Trinity of Sin, and Part 1, Pandora was involved. Part 2, Question's involved. So I'm thinking Part 3 we might see the Phantom Stranger in the next issue, which is Justice League Dark number 22, which comes out next week. Overall, though, Trinity War is amazing. Artwork's good. Dialogue's pretty fresh. I highly recommend this book to anyone. I mean, so far the Justice League series has been kind of hit and miss, but right now I'd say Trinity War is definitely something you should check out. So start with Justice League 22, then get this, and the next week get Justice League Dark number 22, because it's, so far I think Trinity War is awesome. Highly recommend it. Alright, now it's time for Marvel. I'm starting off with number 1, but it's only a mini-series, not an ongoing. It is Superior Carnage number 1. Alright, the Wizard. Alright, Carnage. How do you start off a Carnage miniseries? Killing spree. The Wizard breaks out Carnage. And of course, what's the first thing Carnage does? Killing spree! So after Carnage is done killing people, the Wizard shows up and tries to control Carnage's mind with his mind helmet, but it doesn't work because Carnage's host, Cletus Cassidy, if you read Minimum Carnage, then you know that at the end of the story arc he was lobotomized by the Scarlet Spider. And so basically now Carnage is a mindless beast, and because of that the Wizard's helmet doesn't work. And just right when Carnage is about to attack the Wizard, Claw shows up and is able to knock him out because Carnage is a symbiote and he's vulnerable to sound and Claw is basically a living sound being, and that's where the issue ends. Okay, well, I'd say pretty much if you're a Carnage fan, definitely a buy, but I think in order to really enjoy this miniseries, you have to know who Carnage is, read stories like the first Carnage story arc, then Maximum Carnage, and then possibly Minimum Carnage, just to know that, Carnage is lobotomized now, so he's basically a mindless beast. As far as the Wizard, I feel like the Wizard is just involved, doesn't have a personal connection with Carnage, so he's just there for the story, and of course he's trying to build another Frightful Four. In this case, so far it's just Wizard, Claw, and I guess Carnage. Carnage is a maybe for this. But yeah, we got another. I would say Carnage. First of all, let me just say that Carnage is a great Spider-Man villain. I really hope in this series that we do get to see him at some point meet the Superior Spider-Man. That's something I look forward to with this miniseries. But I mean, the only reason you should check this series out is just because if Carnage is one of your favorite villains or specifically Spider-Man villains. In my case, yeah, Carnage is a cool Spider-Man villain, so I'm definitely give this miniseries a shot. So yeah, Carnage fan, buy it. If not, maybe wait for the trade. Okay. Mouth's been a little dry. Okay. Thor, God of Thunder, number 10. Gore basically is getting ready to detonate the God Bomb, and also he kills his wife after his wife declares that he, Gore, is her god. Gore hates gods, and calling him one is basically an insult. So he kills her. And after that, Gore's son discovers his mother's remains, and when he does, Gore's son goes and frees Thor the Avenger, aka the present-day Thor, from being trapped in a volcano, and provides him with weapons so that he can lead all of the enslaved gods to rally against Gore, which they're able to do. Young Thor pretty much sticks with the enslaved gods fighting back Gore's forces, and meanwhile Thor and older Thor, or King Thor as he's called, basically go and take on Gore themselves, but old Thor pretty much gives his hammer to Thor, the present-day Thor, so that he can go try to stop the bomb from fully detonating. And of course, Thor uses both hammers, his and his future selves, to try to stop the bomb. But the issue ends with the bomb going off. Well, I'm not so sure if the bomb went off, but we do hear like a loud explosion on the last page. Thor, God of Thunder, number 10. Lots of action in this. I know during the summary I know my summary may have sounded confusing. Well, that's because we have three different versions of Thor. We have young Thor, who's arrogant, who hasn't been worthy to lift his hammer 1 year yet. Then we have present-day Thor, who's Thor the Avenger, Thor the superhero, the guy we know. And then we have the third Thor is basically old Thor, who's basically looks a lot like Odin, except he's older, wiser, and at some point he has his arm ripped off and he replaced it with the arm from the Destroyer. But lots of action in this book. So if you like that, that's a good positive. However, and also I do like how Gore's basically this villain who hates gods, and he's been killing gods for centuries. Now he has this weapon that he wants to wipe out all gods throughout existence. And during the monologue, when present-day Thor is trying to stop the bomb, he's kind of thinking to himself, like, what if Gore's right? What if the universe does need to live in an age without gods for a while? That was a really interesting dialogue to hear. I mean, if you read this since the beginning and since the first story arc with Gore, you can understand how that's kind of a big change of heart to hear Thor say, or think, rather. Thor, God of Thunder, really nice issue, very, very great work. I've been reading it. I think this issue is really going to pay off if you read this series since issue 1 or you read the first story arc. If not, you're probably not going to have as much positive feeling towards it as people who read it, as some veteran readers. But if you read issue 1 or the first story arc, then I would say definitely pick this up or wait for the trade if you're trade awaiting it. So far, it's very good. Alright, next up, Iron Man number 13. Basically, 451 takes Tony Stark to the God Killer armor, and just when he's about to link Tony up with the God Killer, because 451 needs Tony to be its pilot, which is the whole reason he got involved with Tony's birth. And basically when he's trying to sneak Tony up to the armor, Death's Head shows up and tries to claim the bounty on 451, which is extremely high. Then Tony basically escapes because, well, he doesn't necessarily escape. He just hides in another part of the God Killer armor because 451 still has control of Tony's armor, but 451's controls only let Tony remain in charge of the armor as long as he doesn't try to escape, which in this case, the God Killer armor is huge. He just hides another part of it, and he tries to think of a way to he can stop Death's Head with, and also break out of 451's control. Really all I can say is that this is just a very weak issue. And also, the story, we're still using the title for this as another part of the secret origin of Tony Stark. Yeah, there's no flashbacks in this. There's no more reference to Tony Tony's parents and 451 and stuff. Really, I think either skip this issue's $4. You don't get much out of it. I would just say skip it or borrow it from a friend. Because honestly, right now this is a very weak. Because I was liking the story arc up until this issue. It was just dull and not really. This issue really wasn't worth $4. Right, now for the final comic. All New X-Men, number 14. Okay, it turns out the Dark Phoenix, Jean... Okay, picking up from last issue, we think Jean is becoming the Dark Phoenix. But it turns out it was just a psychic illusion she created to help distract the bad guys. And then throughout the rest of the issue, pretty much the bulk of this issue is just the X-Men fighting Mystique and her team of mutants. And basically the X-Men are able to win. However, the end result is that Mystique and Lady Mastermind are recaptured. However, but Sabretooth and the Silver Samurai got away, and the Uncanny Avengers show up and they help clean up the end of this. And there is a sweet brother moment between young Cyclops and Havoc where they kind of high five each other, which is nice. However, after this, towards the end of the issue, we see that Mystique is able to escape her prison. So, kind of a hollow victory for the X-Men right here. Alright, All New X-Men number 14. Pretty much if you like the X-Men with a lot of action, and that's kind of your thing you want from an X-Men comic, then I'd say get this issue if you want to spend the $4 on it. But otherwise, really, you can either just borrow this issue from a friend or just skip it entirely. That's really how I feel about this, because I really like this series. I enjoyed the first story arc. During the second one, I was kind of, I'd say maybe a little skewed away from it, but I don't know. Right now, the last two issues, this issue and the last one, just have been kind of, yeah, that's probably the right term I could use. But I'd say issue number 14, you could at best just borrow it from a friend. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching my weekly review. For a quick recap, All New X-Men number 14. Lots of action. They capture Mystique, but she gets away. Hollow victory. I'd say borrow it from a friend. Iron Man number 13. Death's Head returns to try to collect bounty on 451. Tony goes away so that he can think of a plan. Borrow it from a friend or basically just skip it. Thor, God of Thunder, number 10. The Thors continue their struggle to stop the God Bomb from detonating. This is the second to last part. Next issue is going to be the conclusion of the story arc. Very nice story, lots of action. Really like Thor's monologue at the end. Present day Thor's monologue at the end. Highly recommend it if you're a Thor fan. Superior Carnage, number 1. Carnage fans, this is definitely a buy. Otherwise, for everyone else, probably wait for the trade. Justice League of America, number 6, Part 2 of Trinity War. If you enjoyed Part 1, you're going to love this. If you're not reading Trinity War, I would say get on it right now, because we're already only 2 parts in. You just have to catch up on Justice League number 22. Then this, definitely a buy. Batman and Catwoman number 22. This is an amazing series. Pretty much this is the second best Batman title right after Scott Snyder's Batman. Highly recommend this. I really am starting to think that I should pick this up regularly after the story arc's done. Finally, Animal Man number 22. Very nice Jeff Lemire continues to do a good job combining both elements of horror and elements of the superhero comic together to make this one awesome fusion of a comic. Highly recommend it if you like both those things. Okay, okay, I think I locked my iPad, yeah, Invincible 104, definitely a buy if you're a long-time reader. New readers, I'd say probably catch up on a couple of story arcs before reading this. Okay, that's it. that's it for me right now. Thank you for watching my weekly comic review. For those of you who actually did make it to San Diego, I hope you're all enjoying yourselves. I'm still checking out the news as it comes out online. Really looking forward to the announcements most people are making. Can't wait to see what else comes out at the San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, Spider-Man 1991, saying see you later.